This story is inspired by true events. Some details have been adapted for this production. He grew up hearing laughter behind his back. At school, they called him ugly. On the street, looks cut through him as if he was less. In the church, he thought it would be different, but even there was rejection. Whenever he stepped to the altar to pray, some stepped back, others turned their faces. The women whispered, "Disgusting." Other workers laughed, "Who would ever want to marry him?" He never answered, he just prayed. In the early mornings, kneeling alone, he whispered, "Lord, it doesn't matter what they think of me, I just want you to be pleased with my life." That faith kept him firm. He served without applause. He arrived before everyone to set chairs, to clean the floor, to help in silence. What others didn't see, God saw. Until one day, during a youth meeting, she walked in. Blonde, blue eyes. Beautiful to the eyes of men, but broken inside. Years of addiction, nights without directions, a life falling apart. Her body weak, her soul tired. She entered with her head down, without hope. It was he who welcomed her, praying with faith, laying hands with tears. He asked for nothing in return. He expected nothing from her. He only served. And in that moment, something began to change. The chains of her addiction started to break. Little by little, the light returned to her eyes. The smile, once gone, came back. She began to serve too. She became an assistant. And then, with time, she started to notice him. Not the color of his skin, not his simple face, but his faith, his humility, his pure heart before God. He admired her too, but kept his distance. He feared gossip. He feared confusion. But the feelings grew. One day, they were asked to buy supplies for the Lord's Supper. As they walked, their conversation was soft, like two souls that understood each other without effort. Suddenly, they saw an old man fall off his bicycle. He ran to help. The man looked at him, then at the young woman, and said with a gentle smile, "This boy, he is the purest I have ever known." She blushed. He grew shy. They walked in silence, but something had changed. Almost at the church, she stopped, took a deep breath, and said, "I like you very much. God has been speaking to me, and I tried to resist these feelings. But you are a true man of God. I need to know if you feel the same." He was shocked. "I never thought a girl like you could see anything good in me." She smiled and replied, "Since the night God set me free, I have never seen you as people see you. I saw something more, and God only confirmed it." He sighed deeply. "I also have a strong feeling for you, but I want to do this right. We must talk to the pastor. And above all, we must pray so God continues to work in our hearts." She answered firmly, "I have no doubts it is God." He smiled, timid, looked into her eyes, touched her face. She answered with a loving smile and a gentle kiss on his cheek. But the path would not be easy. Some women in the church began introducing her to more handsome boys, saying those are real men of God. Others spread cruel rumors. One day, in the middle of a meeting, someone shouted, "I saw that boy in a house of prostitutes!" Shock filled the church. She looked into his eyes. He lowered his head in pain. But she stood firm and said, "That's a lie. I know his character. I know who he is before God." The local pastor, instead of defending them, added to the doubt, "This is a scandal. It cannot be from God." They walked out heavy-hearted, but remained united. They prayed together, cried together, placed everything in God's hands. And then a true man of God appeared. A respected leader of the city who had heard everything from afar. He called them to the front of the church and said, "I have known this boy since his youth. I know his character. And I know the transformation of this young woman. What I heard today was prejudice and lies, and that does not come from God. Who are you to judge what God has united?" He laid his hands on them and declared before everyone, "I bless this union because I see the hand of God upon it." The church went silent. Masks fell. The carnal pastor stood ashamed, speechless. The gossipers lowered their heads, and the couple walked out honored. Years later, they married, built a beautiful family together. They opened a small bakery, simple, humble, full of dedication. What began as a small counter of fresh bread grew into a chain of stores across the city. With their earnings, they helped build churches. They funded orphanages. They supported missionaries. And they proved that serving God is also being light in business, in family, in society. Those who mocked were no longer in the faith. But they became a reference, a blessed family used by God. And whenever someone asked how it all began, they smiled and said, "It was God. Only God could write this story." Because man looks at appearance, but God looks at the heart. 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 7. Maybe you, listening to this story, have faced rejection. Maybe you have been called ugly. Maybe you faced disappointments in love. But remember, the last word does not belong to people. The last word belongs to God. Share your story, your struggles, in the comments. I will read each one with care. And if you love stories of faith and overcoming, subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching. Follow for more to rise again.